Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here to explore the tea, the mysteries of tea together. And so we've got a tea to look at today. It's a black tea. Let's go ahead and get it started. This is a Yunnan black tea. It's got the name Golden in it. It's Yunnan province in southwestern China near the Tibetan border. So that's the area that we're looking at. Now I'm getting out enough here with my gaiwan below. I'm going to gradually scoop out enough. You'll notice that this tea has a lot of fluffy, fuzzy kind of needles in it. And I'm just going to kind of lightly scoop in enough so that I really don't see the bottom, say 1 inch to 1.5 inch diameter of the bottom of my gaiwan here. My water's been brought to a boil. It's been cooling for a little over a minute. I'm going to slowly add this water so that all the leaves kind of get tucked under the surface of the water there, so that they steep more consistently that way. You don't have leaves partially dry floating on top. Allows them all to steep a little more smoothly. And I'm going to put on my lid and a little bit of, yeah, that's good, a little bit of water, a little bit of proto tea is sitting there above the rim of the lid. Now, while that's steeping, go ahead and introduce and talk a little about this tea. This is from LifeInTeacup. You'll find them online, and you'll find a very useful blog associated with LifeInTeacup. LifeInTeacup has connections. I mean, a lot of people do, but LifeInTeacup, you get the impression that they actually are maybe even related or have some very strong connections to the farms and the processors and the growers in China that they work with. This is their Yunnan Golden Bud. You can find 1 ounce available for $7.99. This is a spring 2010 harvest, so spring 2011 should be coming out. It should be forthcoming, I should say, in the next few months at least. And hopefully this is a good indication of what kind of tea will be offered what kind of tea will be offered in the 2011 season, you know, barring variations in climate that may affect year over year. Okay, so looking at this tea, we're going to be talking about the 3 main areas of the tea: the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Now, a note here is that a lot of your Yunnan black teas are often called, in the Chinese classification systems, a dianhong, dian being a kind of older traditional word for that area of China that is now Yunnan province. Hong being red, as in teas. Black teas in China aren't referred to as black teas; they're called red teas. So this is basically a Yunnan black tea is a rough way of translating. And with that, you get a lot of, often you get a lot of golden fuzzy buds, which we're going to be looking at in a second. You can also get some kind of malty type of character, which I'm picking up in the aroma here, and some red, like some red grape skin or red raisin type of notes as well. So let's look at these leaves. As I said already, yes, there are lots of needles. They're fuzzy. They're golden in color, hence the name that golden buds that I mentioned is already. Buds that are, so say, you know, 1 inch or so in length on average. Some of them a little more, a little less. You do see the occasional kind of seal brown ochre type of leaf in there as well, indicating that, you know, that there's a little more oxidation has taken place on these leaves that had a little less of the fuzz, a little more developed in the needle, going from needle to more of a leaf. So a good blend. Actually, most of these look, the majority are either a gold color or a pale gold color. That's more the dominant color. The darker is in the minority. So that's a positive sign that you're getting a lot of rich buds and tips, I should say, or needles there. Okay, so having done that, this should be enough time for the liquor to steep, or the leaves, I should say, to steep. That looks good. So I want to kind of get my pitcher ready, move my lid over to the side, create a fissure there. Middle finger and thumb holding the bowl. Index finger holds the lid securely, and you can kind of hold with the other fingers as well onto the bowl. But that looks good. Nice smooth pour. Get those last few drops out. Just going to shake those few out. And talk a little bit about this wet leaf. First off, do want to give it a smell. Rich malty notes already coming out. Malty, maybe a little bit of warmed baked. I mean, if it got over into kind of a bread, it'd be like a warm raisin bread with that malty character there. So those are nice components already coming off as far as the aroma. We kind of clear these out of the way that got stuck, these leaves that got stuck to the lid here, and pull out a few that I do want to look at a little more carefully. Here's a needle that has unfurled to reveal the outer leaf that was, going to be the first one to separate from the bud, or the more recent. The bud or tip there, needle there. Here's the same, another nice needle. I'll just pull out one more needle. The third one's the charm here. You see these are a nice good length. Looking here just as a glance at the ends of these, and just kind of looking at the stems here where they were cut or broken, and the way these were, the smoothness, the cleanness in which the separation seems to have taken place. This looked like it was cut. Now, that's not to say that say a machine came by, but this could have been, a person with a pair of hand clippers or hand scissors type were actually clipping these off rather than just plucking them, pinching them from the bush. With the black tea, I can't say that makes a more drastic effect as compared to a oolong, where you're trying to control the amount of oxidation taking place. This one, oftentimes, the entire leaf is going through an oxidation process. It's going through that browning, so more tolerable in this situation. At least that's what I'm going to try to see if it didn't make any effect in the liquor here. Looking at this liquor, nice rich color. It's not as transparent as some because it is such a rich, heavy color to it. You can also see a lot of the down or fuzz element type floating around in the filaments, floating around in the liquor itself as well. But it's a nice, as you can see, it's a nice kind of it's deeper than an auburn. It's a little bit more browner than that, less red than an auburn might be. I'm still getting some of the red grape notes. They're a little bit lighter underneath that, as it kind of get a whiff as something rises up, it cools and rises up. A little bit of malty aspect is coming out as well. Let's give it a pour and taste here. I'm looking down through the liquor as well, through the cup. I would say yes, it's got a fairly decent, decent clarity. Clarity, given the fact that there is so much of content to this tea, there's so much of the filament, there's so much of the elements of the needles coming to play and being delivered in this cup. Brightness, yes, I would say it has a bright aspect to it as well. Let's give it a taste. it does have that malty texture that really, especially you swirl it in your mouth, it fills it, gives a kind of slightly chicken broth, slightly silken type quality. It's a heaviness, a film that builds on the mouth, and it's a positive aspect when I say it that way. The taste, you get a little bit of the brown sugar coming out now, so there is kind of a brown sugar sweetness there as well. I'm waiting for a little bit for the aftertaste. The coating really stays with you. As far as an aftertaste that builds up, it started off to be kind of what is starting to develop. I mean, once that coating, which is so prevalent, starts to kind of thin out, you're left in the back with this a little bit of a kind of a watery type of texture that's starting to build up, and it's not really rounding out into a gummy, sticky sweetness or a syrupy type feel that you might get with some kind of brown sugar type feel that some black teas can have. Some black teas, Yunnan blacks, can also give kind of a having just eaten chocolate kind of aftertaste, or they may kind of dwell in that malty aspect there. And this one, let me give it another shot, but so far it's not really standing out, drawing out a lot, building on those qualities much. As it cools, I thought maybe we'll find out if there's any nuances, any differences here. Okay, yeah, as it cooled there, I got a slight splash of this kind of having just finished a piece of chocolate. Get a little bit of that hit for, like I said, like a splash, and then some of the watery aspect starts to kind of build up as well. I would want, and you would want to check this tea for yourself. Another thing about black teas, Yunnan black teas in particular, is you want to be able to note how they rest on your stomach after a time. And some of this is personal experience or personal reaction for your body and the tea. Some of this depends on, have you eaten recently? Are you drinking this on a full stomach? Or more empty stomach? Some teas have just feel more acidic on the stomach. Acidic is the word I'm using. It's the term that I hear used most often to talk about that kind of something that just kind of swirls in your stomach. It makes your stomach possibly start to growl like you're hungry, like your stomach's empty and hungry. That kind of growling, grumbling, emptiness feeling they've been taught to associate with a high level of acidity. So you want to check out how much acidity your body seems to sense after drinking this tea. Looking at this tea as a whole, I would give this tea, it's got some good quality components to it. So I like the maltiness to it. It's got, and I say I like, in that it's got character. It's keeping with the characteristics of a Dianhong by presenting that malty characteristic. It's got a little bit of the grape characteristic. Maybe you will say that there's a little bit of a chocolatey note towards the back, like I did. On the other hand, I felt it got a little watery sooner than other comparable teas. So when I look at this tea as a whole, I would give this tea an 89. Like I said, some good qualities. A sneak preview of what could be coming in 2011. Perhaps the tea producer, the tea maker, will enhance his craft and be able to draw out or diminish some of these the flaws in this tea. Perhaps the climate will enhance this tea so that the qualities the strengths come out in even brighter, stronger element. So come back to Walker Tea Review to see about this year and about future teas as well.